episode number 219. Are these comics going to make good film and television shows? We have the JSA number 5, and we have Wayback Machine Fantastic Four from the 80s, number 260. Let's talk about them right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I'm your host, Frank Zanca. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And remember to give me a like, give me a thumbs up, and if you can, share it. That would be amazing. If you can, subscribe. Ring that bell, ding, ding. Also, if you'd like to check out anything that I've written, you can go to Amazon.com and just type in my name, Frank Zanca, and my stuff will pop up there. And I have my sci-fi quadrilogy, Destiny Aurora, which was also made into a board game, and it's also on Audible, as well as a graphic novel. So it was a 150-page graphic novel as well, so you can check all that out on Amazon as well. Plus, I have my fantasy novel, Tales of Ravenor the Iron Witch, which you can also check out. And then I have a biography called Escape from Berlin. It's a World War II biography, true story. So there's a lot of things that I got up on there if you want to check any of that out. It's kind of across the board. There's a horror book on there called The Awakening that's kind of like The Sixth Sense. So I have a little bit of everything. Everybody says you should focus, but until you're making millions of dollars and you're kind of known as that person, it doesn't really pay to focus anything. I'm working on a new novel right now that I actually picked back up, and I'm working on a new comic right now as well called Fairy Tales of Terror. It's going to be amazing. All right, so let's jump into the JSA, which is the Justice Society of America. Number 5, this is the story of the old JSA and the new JSA. The old JSA got transported to hell or whatever. I don't even know what. They haven't described what's going on yet, by the Injustice Society. And then on top of that, Obsidian was replaced by one member of the Injustice Society, so they have a traitor in the midst as well. But anyway, they're looking for their buddies here, and it's not going real well. And we start out with Hawkman being visited by this ghost named Kid Eternity. I don't know why it says Outlaws on top there, but anyway, they took his wings, they took his mace, and all this other stuff. So anyway, the girl's like, I don't have any friends here, I don't know anybody here, I don't even know how I got here. And he's like, well, I'll be your friend if you can just get me out of here. And she's like, okay. So she takes the ropes off, and immediately he's whipped around the neck by these demons, because I guess they're in hell or whatever else, but you see one demon's got the mace and his helmet, the other one's got the wings, etc. And it's not really going well for him. But then, Kendra shows up, cuts the whip, and says, I'm here to rescue you. And she's about damn time. So he gets his stuff back from the demons, and they fly away. Meanwhile, Gentleman Ghost and Solomon Grundy show up to find them. Because they know everything's kind of going to hell. And Gentleman Ghost gets on a horse. I think that was pretty cool. I think I've seen him like that before. But yeah, pretty wild. So anyway, we have I think that's Dr. Midnight was trying to wake up Obsidian, and Savage. That's Savage's daughter, and she is, it's not Scandal. Is it Scandal Savage? Yeah, I think it is. So anyway, she's like, I have an idea, and she sees this thing, she picks it up, and then she chucks it at the lights and smashes it enough to startle Scandal Savage, and then beats the crap out of her, and then gets Obsidian and drags him outside. But I'm not sure how this works. He's also in here talking to Jakeem, who has the genie. But I don't know how he's in two places at once. and that, unless they're in his head, I don't think they are, but I don't know how they could be in two places at once. Why is Jakeem in his head if that's the case? But I guess they are, because I don't think that's real. So Jakeem is somehow in Obsidian's head. I don't know how that works, man. I'm not sure how that works. But anyway, then you have, and this should have had a narrator's note or whatever, because that is the fake Obsidian. But if I wasn't paying attention, I'll be like, how is he in three places at once? But that's the fake Obsidian. So, but they should have had some kind of note in there saying, and this is not him. I forgot who this guy was in the coma. But anyway, there's Jade, who I don't think we even saw in the last issue. But she's kind of trying to run the new JSA, and she has a past with this other dude. I think his name is Sandman. I think he just goes by Sand. But the artwork is decent. So anyway, Scandal goes and reports that they escaped, and we are doing Batman Hush 2 with Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee. I got to make sure I tell my shop to hold one aside for me. If I was in LA, I would have had it signed. But anyway, so we have them having a disagreement because some parts are failing of their mission. It doesn't always pay to be a bad guy. But yeah, that is back in hell there, and we have some kind of a tower. The Tower of Fate falls tonight, right? Because Dr. Fate is holding all this together, I think. He's got something going on there. And yeah, and there's the old JSA. Yeah, I guess inside the tower. I like it. Will it make a good film or television show? Probably not. It's kind of all over the place. I do like it, but it is kind of all over the place. It's by Jeff Lemire. He mostly writes horror, but there is no real focus at this point because we're on issue 5 already, and he should be wrapping this up by the next issue. He should have the. I don't think that arcs should be any longer than 6. I mean, if you have a huge arc that's 12, kind of like Hush was or whatever, okay. But I think for the most part, 6 issues, you should be able to tell a full story. All right, so let's jump into Fantastic Four, number 260. So the reason I didn't even realize this was John Byrne, because I thought this was beyond his run, but it's not. But this had the death of Doom in it, because it was referenced to something else I was reading. So, and the quality of this is pretty good. There's not a whole lot of dents or anything else in this. And again, this is from the 80s. But we start out, and I like how they used to do this. But it starts out with Namor, whose head looks a little weird there. He's in like the first three pages, and it sets up a storyline. It doesn't pay off. Doesn't even really pay it off at all. It sets up something. But I like how they just throw this random story in there, and then they'll pick it up later. I think that's kind of cool, actually. So anyway, he finds these people that are refugees, and they're like, we can't go back to our home because it's destroyed or whatever. And so he goes to investigate by himself, and there's some kind of an acidic thing or something to that effect that is messing with him, because he said, no, everything looks fine. Then he realizes underneath the waves that it's not fine at all. But then we go to the Fantastic Four here, and they're fighting against Tyros. I forgot his name, but anyway, he was brought back to life by Doom. So Doom is just kind of watching to the side as not all 4 of them are there, because Reed is not with them, and it's not going well for them. So he smacks, I guess, Tyros or whatever. I've got his name. But anyway, so they're trying desperately to fight him, but it's 3 against 1, and he's not even doing well. He controls the earth, so he's throwing rocks. He's throwing water to knock Johnny out, but Sue stops the spray of water, and she jumps in there, but he immediately knocks the crap out of her. He tries to sneak up behind him, Ben does, but that doesn't work. And finally, Sue realizes that they're losing, and she activates the beacon, I guess for Reed or whatever. But anyway, Doom sees it and realizes that Reed is not going to show up. And this is majorly ticking him off. And he's like, no, this can't end right now. Reed has got to be there or this thing is for nothing. So he decides that he's going to hold everything off until Reed shows up. So he goes down to the surface, because I think he was in an orbiting thing or whatever. He's in a plane. And he hits Tyros there and says, no, you got to stop. And until Reed gets there. And he's like, I'm not stopping shit. I'm winning. So they end up fighting. And Doom gets some really good shots in. But then he, I guess, solders his whole thing. So he's stuck there, basically. He freezes him in place by, like, cauterizing his armor. So he has the joints of the armor are no longer working. So then too bad we don't get Fantastic Four like this anymore, because now you have Silver Surfer show up, and Silver Surfer's trying to fight him, and he gets some good, again, everybody gets some good licks up against this guy, but it doesn't, I remember this too. I had this game back in the day. It was a video game with Popeye. Wow. That's bringing back some memories. So he knocks Silver Surfer off his board. Then he tries to take his board so he can get the Power Cosmic, or get more of it because he has the Power Cosmic now, because he was a Galactus Herald. And Doom's like, I'm helpless, and Doom does not like to feel helpless. And then you have Mary Jane, Aunt May in there. So you randomly have Aunt May in here walking past the battle, and then you have this guy, and that guy becomes very important later. But anyway, he's rude to Aunt May, and Aunt May's like, dude, what's your deal? But now we have the Silver Surfer fighting him on the board. He's getting more and more powerful, this thing. And this thing, he just kind of explodes, and it explodes on top of Doom, who cannot move, and Doom is killed. So Sue tries to hold back the tsunami of power, but she's thrown back based on the shockwave that goes through her force field. I guess that Tyros is gone. Silver Surfer comes out of the whatever ooze of the explosion, and they find Doom's mask just laying there. So this does not go well for him. So Norrin Rad's kind of messed up. So they lay him down in the med bay. And as she's like, she feels somebody's in there, or she feels a presence, and that's when you have Namor showed up from the beginning. Good stuff. So yeah, so the reason that the other guy is important is that Doom ends up transmitting his consciousness and swapping with the other guy, the blonde guy that was rude to Aunt May. So that's, but we find that out later, which is why I wanted to get this, because I was reading that whole thing about Doom's return. So we'll make a good film or television show. I have no idea what they're doing right now with Fantastic Four with the movie. I'm not a fan of any of it. I'm not a fan of it starting in the 60s. I'm not a fan of the casting. I'm not a fan of any of it. I'm actually not a fan that they didn't use Norrin Rad. I'm going to be skipping that. So I really don't care what they're doing with Fantastic Four right now. And I'm also not a fan of Robert Downey Jr. being Doom. So I got nothing going on with the version. And this would not make a good movie either. It's because it's all over the place. I like it, but it would never make a good movie because there's no rhyme or reason to the. I mean, I like the Injustice Society, but even their plan is I don't even understand what their plan is. So it'd be nice if I knew what their plan was besides sticking them in hell. I don't think that's enough. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you guys for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Remember, give me that like, give me that thumbs up if you can. If you can, share the video out. And if you can, subscribe. That would be great. Remember to ring that bell, ding, ding. Get notified about when I do videos. I'm probably not going to be, when I'm on set for a week starting next week, I won't have time because I'm going to be working, 12, 13 hours a day. Maybe on the weekend, but I won't be able to do it during the week. But anyway, that's it for me. I want you to have a great week, and thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. All right, bye-bye.